Yo, so Cafecito Time candles and melt are now available, guys. The smell is unbelievable. And I'm not just saying this, but my house smells so damn good. Every time I come in, everyone's like, are you making coffee? I'm like, nope, it is my new candle. So exclusively just for our listeners, if you use HERR 10, you will get 10% off our melts and the candle. I like them both, so I can't suggest one or the other. I have the melts upstairs in my room, and the candle burns downstairs. So make sure you get yours exclusively only at Twin Candle Co. Make sure you use HERR 10. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HERR Lounge podcast. I'm always excited to start Mondays because I look forward to recording because so much happens over the weekend, or you watch something. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this or that. But Don sent me something actually early this morning, which I was like, oh my God, that's not what I was going to talk about. I was going to update everybody just kind of on, what I've been watching, what I've been doing or whatever. But I thought this was perfect. So maybe you guys will know where I'm going with this. Okay. What women want and what men want, right? So this is kind of the thing. So men need to be loved physically in order to love emotionally, right? Women need to be loved emotionally in order to love physically, right? Okay, so that's my quote. So you guys get it. Men want loyalty, sex, food, encouragement. Here we go. Women want loyalty, money, superhuman sex, love, gifts, passwords, phone access, email account, addresses, contacts, attention, compliments, the sun, the moon, the star, your time, all of it, receipts, explanations, and the list goes on. So who do you think wrote that one?
I mean, if I had to take a guess.
I was like, oh my God. It was just the funniest things I kept seeing when I looked up like quotes for women and men, whatever. And then I saw another meme. It was hilarious. It said a man's day, and pretty much the emojis on there. The first one's like this. It's just smiling, and then throughout the day just goes like it's like that all the way to the end until he gets home, basically. And it's kind of like that. And then a woman's day, it's funny because the emojis start with happy and then really happy, then they cry, then they don't know what it's like, don't know what to do, a mad face, a kiss face, a devil face, an angry face, a cry. It's funny, like a different, like a roller coaster of emotions. But here's what made me think of that, and I just wanted to play what Don sent, and then we can kind of go into it.
Because men are problem solvers by nature, okay? Life is just a series of problems that you're constantly solving.
Yes.
But we don't let emotions get in the way. Sure, I'm not saying that we all have emotions. But if a guy had a problem, he's like, yeah, dude, this guy I work with, he's just kind of being a dick to me. And, whatever the situation is, I would say, well, that sucks. Have you told him that, like, you actually can't work on Saturdays because you actually have to take care of your nephew? And, like, so why don't you just call him up, tell him you can't do it, and just get it done. And like, there you go, as a buddy, you'll solve a problem. Now, if your girlfriend has that problem and she's like, this girl at work, blah, blah, she does not want you to solve that problem. She wants you to listen and have empathy and just sit there and shut
your mouth.
Shut up. Yeah. You're right. He's supposed to. And it's funny because I was thinking about it. I was like, is that true? Because I don't know that I want empathy. Bitch, I need you to help me solve this problem. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel. But maybe because I'm always having to be the problem solver. Does that make sense? So maybe in my situation, I'm the problem solver, which I have to solve problems, right? Because, I obviously have to manage my husband's business and, manage as far as like negotiating his contracts and so forth. Right. And then I have to manage myself as well. So when there's a problem, I don't know that I want empathy. I don't think I want to hear like, really? Well, fuck her. Or, you know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion, for me, that wouldn't work for me. I feel like that would annoy me. You giving me empathy. I want for you to tell me how we can solve this problem. Like, hear me out. Mm-hmm. This is a situation, right? Now, what we finna do versus, so maybe because I think business, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think like personally, and I'm trying to think like personally, what situation could I relate this to, right? But I no longer put myself in situations to where someone can affect me or someone like I don't like is saying something to me, because I've come to, I think, an age where I just don't want to be that. Like I saw Bun B say something he went live or something, and I momentarily saw it, and it said something like, he used the N-word. I'm not going to use the N-word, right? But he said, you N-words want to sit there and talk shit about, oh, I don't fuck with that N-word, right? Because he does X, Y, Z. Well, you just wasted energy saying how you don't fuck with this person, right? Because of X, Y, Z, instead of like, why are you even giving it that much attention, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, it's so true. You just gave something attention that you were like, fuck that situation or fuck that person. But you just spend even if it was 10 seconds, 20 seconds, you spend that little small amount of energy on that situation or on that person, right? While it's taken me a long time, right? This just didn't happen overnight. I feel like now I handle situations like that different, where I'm like, I'll say it out loud to myself, right? Like, fuck that bitch. I'm not fucking with her. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with her anymore. This is done with. And that's kind of like the last time I address it. And then it's just like, I don't have time for it. I've got 100 other things to do and situations that are really need my attention, versus dwelling on that one situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think obviously we know that women and men are wired totally different. Totally. And I'll use he and my husband and I, for example, right? When he is out of town, I'm not the kind of female that needs a phone call every, like how this said, I need attention, a phone call, an email, you know what I'm saying? Like all this. Because I guess maybe I'm on the road with him, so I know what a day is like. It's like, it's too fast. Like there is downtime, obviously, right? But it's not like, it's gonna be sound really mean, but I mean, does he really want to call me on his downtime? Like,
absolutely not.
Exactly. And I get it. Like, I don't want to fuck with you either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I'm dealing with these 2 little kids at my house right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm having to deal with them and whatever else is happening. So I'm just as busy as he is. And so,
especially if it's like 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
Like, leave room for some longing
Exactly.
for each other.
Like, I don't need for him to constantly like call and check in. I do ask that he always call or check in the morning. How you doing? How's it going? What's your today? But bam, that's it. I don't need to talk to you at all for the rest of the day. And then at night, how did the show go? That's it. It's like a morning and a night situation. That's all I need. It's just like, oh, you woke up. I'm so happy you woke up today. God gave you another day. That's all I need. That's for my anxiety purpose. Not probably anything to do with him. Just I want to know that God woke you up. He gave you another day. You're good. You're about to go do whatever you're going to do. Cool. How are the girls? Cool. And I'll send him pictures, because he does ask, like, send pictures or videos of the girls throughout the day. So I will do that, or if he'll say like, hey, I want to FaceTime the girls. Sure. We'll FaceTime. And then in the evening, same thing. Really, it's just I want to hear how the show went. Not, it's just like, how'd it go today? Was it packed? Did you try anything new? And how did this bit go? I know you said you wanted to try this bit. Did you do it? You know what I'm saying? So it's more of a conversation like that. And then it's like, all right, I'm going to bed. Me too. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night. However, I've never been the type of female that needs to know your whereabouts all day long. Right. And I think it's because in my younger days, I didn't want for you to question me where I was, where I was at, where I was going, because I didn't feel like, or how my mom used to always say, when you start paying bills around this house, that's when you have an opinion or you have a say. Right. So I just kind of always saw it with like, when you start paying my bills, and that's when you have a say, and that's when you have an opinion. Meanwhile, I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I saw it. I'm not kidding you. So I was always like that. So I never liked to be questioned, and I didn't like to question anybody. if you have the time to cheat in between there, that's on you. That's not really on me,
How
right?
exhausting does that sound, though?
It's so exhausting. Like, it sounds like a lot of work to me.
I know.
If I'm just going to cheat, we're just going to be like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I want to have several people and I want to date, we're just not going to really, you might just be the main one, right?
The main squeeze.
The main squeeze, but you're not going to be the only one. So you're going to probably get more of my attention than the other ones may, but it still doesn't make you my boyfriend. So it still doesn't give you the right to ask me questions. So I think that's where that comes from for me, right? Why now, fast forward all these years, I'm just not a needy person. I'm not a needy female. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it if that's how you roll. Because sometimes it may not even be, right? So much that you're a needy person. Your spouse may have cheated. Right? So now you're insecure about your spouse because your spouse cheated. So now, although you may have forgiven him, right? In the back, in sign language, back here, it's still back there. You know what I'm saying? Where you're thinking like, could he, would he, maybe, why isn't he answering? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's interesting. Or, something, it's always like your mind wanders and thinks and makes up a whole story that's, your husband may not be even, or your other half, whatever, may not even be doing anything, right? But in your mind, you created this story to where it's like, it's been done to me. I mean, they knew how I was doing everything. I was like, what? I'm like sitting here in my house, like totally watching TV. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea where you were thinking, but also when you're cheating and you're insecure because you're doing wrong, right? You also think that person's doing wrong. So you start to think, oh, they're probably doing that shit too because you're guilty of something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I don't always feel like, I do feel that women are more emotional. Period. I mean, I think we can all agree with that, right? Without question. Obviously, that's why hormones go like this, right? I think men are emotional in a different way. Emotions as in like, you could probably solve an emotional problem with the male by having sex with them and they're over it. Like, okay, well, that satisfied that emotional need. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that primal urge.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, that went away. So, oh, by the way, now that we're on the subject, shout out to Sheila, who just joined the Discord.
Oh, our newest patron.
Newest patron. Guess why she joined, Rob?
Oh, I don't know why.
Because she says she is not thanking her husband for not cheating, boo-boo. I was like, oh yeah, that is
Really?
exactly the reason why you should.
She
join
said
here.
that?
That was her comment.
That's
I said, well,
hilarious.
oh my god, because I told everybody, it's like, oh my god, I didn't know it was that Sheila. I saw Sheila, but I couldn't see the face, right? And so when I clicked the icon, I was like, oh my god, that's Sheila, from Wonderland Play. And so yeah, that's who that is. That's
Very
who
cool.
joined. Yeah, and I said, oh my god, guys, this is the badass that we've all talked about on our Discord, where we were like, fuck, we want to get there too, where my husband can quit his job, and we're all working together. And so it was funny because I was like, hey guys, this is the Sheila that we were all talking about,
Welcome to her world.
Yeah, welcome to her world. And she's like, well, I joined to make sure that I'm going to tell y'all I'm not apologizing. I said, thank you, ma'am. But it was funny because I told Pete, did I already say this on the podcast? I don't remember, but I was watching the Kardashians and I was watching how Khloe, I did say this,
Did
right?
you say it on air? I thought you might have told me off air, but say
Was
it again.
off air?
Say it again.
Okay, I don't remember where it was, but it was, so now I remember when Khloe announced that her surrogate got pregnant, right? Her surrogate's having their baby. I was thinking like, well, she just doesn't want two baby daddies. I get it. He's not the best dad, he's cheated, but he's she probably doesn't want two different dads for her kids. So I kind of get it. Granted, everybody's like, what a fucking idiot, blah blah blah. Well, when you watch the actual show, she talks about how that whole thing, bro, he knew that other girl was already pregnant and still went through with this fucking surrogate and didn't tell her and was cheating that whole time. So she did this whole surrogate thing thinking, well, we're in a better place. We're trying to create a family. He's trying, right? she's now trying to forgive for the first situation he did, which was cheat on her, and she found out while she was almost due, and it made her go into labor early because of all the anxiety and stress that he caused, because that's whenever it was all over the media that he had cheated. Okay. So they're trying to get over that hump, right? She says he not only does he propose to her, she declines and says, we're not there yet, boo-boo. Like, we're working on our family. Like, hold on. Like, let's just see where this goes, right? Then they decide to get the surrogate, have another baby. Meanwhile, this guy knew since July this girl was pregnant, and they did that in November.
Damn.
Is that not fucked up, bro? So I told Pete, I was like, all right, that is where I would say, thank you, husband, for not cheating. Because fuck, I couldn't imagine going through that. I can't imagine going through that at all.
I love these conversations, and I love how we're so diametrically opposed sometimes. Like, shout out Sheila again. Thank you for joining the Patreon, supporting Mighty Soul's World and everything else. But can we go back to the original clip?
Yeah.
So I want you to sit in the pocket a little bit with this subject and tell me, you say you're not like this, and I'm sure Dawn, she sent it to you with the intention of us talking about it, I'm sure, and she's probably rolling her eyes now because she's probably going to, in her head, she's thinking, well, they're both Libras, and they're going to say, well, maybe it's because we're Libras, and we're both thinking the same way, blah, blah. I can already hear her saying this and rolling her eyes, but most women are that way, wouldn't you say? Where they just want the guy to shut up, listen to me.
100%.
Listen to my office problems. Don't solve my office problems for me. Okay, let's just use the name Sheila, because there's always a Sheila in the office. Fucking Sheila, get this, and then whatever the story is.
Sheila.
And then you try to solve I am guilty of this every time Don mentions anything. And we're going on, I don't know, 5 or 6 years together now. And no matter what it is, whether it's something with her mother or a coworker in the past or whatever, I'm like, okay, let's dissect the issue. And she's like, no. Don't dissect anything. Listen to what I'm telling you. And I'm like, all right. But before that, I would just ignore her, just go with what I think the solution is to the problem. And she really didn't want that. And she'll admit that too. And she's like, I've gotten better about that. Like, I understand where you're coming from and how you're wired. I can't just like, listen, I got to tell you something.
Yeah. I'm the same way, but I'm a problem solver. So I want you to solve my problem. Does that make sense? So if I'm telling you a story, it's not because I want you to listen to me. I want, what is your opinion? I want to hear your side. I need to know what you think. And then how do you think I should address it? That's me. Maybe it's because of I saw this meme this reel the other day of she's the eldest of her siblings, and it says me celebrating that I'm knocking down walls for my family, breaking down childhood trauma for everyone without them realizing it, like always the responsible one. So maybe that's kind of where it comes from, was that like at such a young age, maybe so much like responsibility was given to me to where like there was never no time for like, hey, what about me? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And sometimes I want some of that, and then when I think about it, I'm like, no, you don't. Stop lying. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Because it would annoy you. It would annoy you so much. So why are you acting like you really do? You know what I'm saying? You really do want this, like,
yeah.
I don't. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't ever post, like, for example, I never wanted anybody to kind of know that my mom was going through chemo or that my mom had cancer. I didn't want anybody, and this is the stupidest thing because I'm sure no one's felt like this, but I didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. Like, don't feel sorry for us. Like, we're trying to fight this. We're going to fight this. We're warriors. Like, we're going to beat it. Like, I don't feel like feeling bad is going to solve anything. Like, we have to have a positive mind.
Yeah.
There can't be any of the, when I look back at it, because I don't like to deal with emotions, right? I handled my mom going through cancer in a very like, come on, no, none of that,
Yeah.
none of that sadness. Get up. You know what I'm saying?
Las pilas.
Yeah, like, come on, we got to get through this. And none of this. I'm tired. Like,
woe is me.
Yeah, like, no, we're not playing this pity party here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stage 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm super thankful for that. So there's some people that find out and they're stage 4 and then they're fucked. You see what I'm saying? We're stage 1. We're going to fight this. There's not going to be time for this pity party. We don't have time for that. You know what I'm saying? We got to move. Easy for you to say is what my mom would say. Now I realize my mom wanted, like now, when I think about situations, right? I feel like, oh, my mom wanted for me to be like, are you okay, Mom?
Yeah.
That was my sister.
Yeah.
My sister was, I was not the, are you okay? I was like, come on, we got to go. Like, let's do this. Like,
are you seeing though now, to kind of pause right here, that that's a little detrimental? That was a little detrimental for you to carry that same, like always, like not really, because essentially what you're doing is you're overlooking the issue, looking past it or through it even, to not really deal with what's happening. Totally.
That's what it is. But I also felt like positive mind, positive outcome. And I felt like if we kind of, like my sister, I think the reason she was so strong through a lot of it was that maybe on her own time, she might have been sad, right? But she was never negative about her situation. She didn't want you to say anything negative about cancer. She didn't want to when all her hair fell, it was like, this is part of it. Like I said, on her own time, I don't know if I'm sure she might have cried. It's got to make you feel some kind of way. You got to be scared.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? But she was so strong. And so that made me, because I wanted to be the crybaby, because that's really who I am. But in actuality, seeing her be so strong made me be like, okay, bitch, calm the fuck down. Like, you can't be sitting here crying. That's why when we went to go get her results, I was thinking to myself, this is not a very good idea. Like, I should not be the one here with you, because if it's bad news, my knee, Rob, I mean, I was like, have you, like when you're nervous, you know how you move the one leg?
I guess I'm always nervous. I always do that.
Oh yeah. They also say that's also if you're thinking.
Oh,
you
that's
do
very
that.
true. Yeah. It annoys the piss out of Dawn.
Yeah.
I'm always shaking the table because we're at the kitchen table or something. I'm always moving the table because my knees are moving or my arms on there. She's like, we should stop moving.
Yeah. A lot of that is your mind is going. And so that's why you do it. So it's like a tick almost. So I do that, but my leg is uncontrollable whenever I'm like have a really bad, like, oh my God, anxiety type of situation. And so I was sitting there and I'm like talking to my sister. We're totally talking about Disney World and she's going on this trip. And I'm just like trying really hard to concentrate on what we're talking about. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this fucking doctor, can he just hurry up and get in here so we know the news already? Like, and when he walked in, I mean, my mouth just gets dry and my hands are super sweaty and I'm just like, my foot just goes even harder. I'm
watching
just
Human Playground all over again.
My foot is just like moving even harder and he's like, you're okay? I'm like, just nervous. That's all, and then finally he gave us the good news and I was like, oh my God, I was like, damn, dude, like you just took too long. Like this is not, so that's kind of like that's the kind of person I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not, I don't do good with bad situations. So I always try to flip it into good and try to find the strong part of it. Like, okay, so like, for example, my mom, the one thing I would always fight with her about would be, you found out at stage 1. There's so many women who don't get to find out that soon. They find out so late for whatever reason it is. It wasn't detected. We don't know, right? There's so many reasons why it could happen. But you found yours because you're so on top of your health. You're so on top of like checking yourself while you're laying there that you found it at stage 1, So that's what I kept wanting to remind her. And she kept trying to tell me, well, you don't know what I'm going through. And I kept saying, I know, but there's women who go through worse than this. But in her mind, when I sit back and I look at it, in her mind, right? I'm the male, she's the female here, right? In her mind, it was the worst thing that could happen. Does that make sense? While in my mind was like, thank you, God, for not making it the worst thing that could happen, which would be my mom's in stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? To me, it was like, okay, we caught it. We're going to take care of it. And now we just have to stay positive and we have to fucking just go through this bitch. Like, we're not going to let cancer beat us. You know what I'm saying? And that was my mentality the whole time, which, like I said, I think for her, she wanted, when my sister would come, and she was, because I lived with my mom, so I was the one taking care of her most of the time. And when my sister would come and help out, right? My sister was can I get you something to eat, Mom? Put your legs up, or, can I get you a pillow? Are you good? I didn't do none of that.
Why?
I feel like it's almost like a mental thing. I think like when you tell someone they're sick, they're going to be sick.
I totally agree with you, but this is, you actually segued perfectly into how I wanted to phrase it. So when you describe it that way, because I can totally relate to that, but I'm only, again, I'm 10 years younger than both of the Blinks. But in some of the things that I think about, I feel like some people that are even older than y'all it never clicks. Like they're always missing something in their head where the wires don't connect or the screws are always loose. So let's just, for example, say that you have a house in Galveston on the beach and it's on stilts and it's on 4 stilts and 3 of the 4 stilts are damaged from a storm. But you focus on the positive thing that one of them is like keeping the house up. Great. You still have to address the other 3 stilts, right? So you still want to be empathetic. Let's say I have a parent let's just say that I hypothetically have a parent going through this. And I'm going to be, I just naturally, I'm going to be the person that's like, what do you need? You know, blah, blah, blah. Like, you got that? You good? How you feeling? But also, when I close the door behind me, all right, doc, like, what do we got to do? I got to try to figure it out while I'm also trying to console them if no one else is doing it. Because you have other siblings. Maybe if the other siblings suck at everything, you're like, okay, well, I got to be everything essentially, right? So how do you address an issue now in your older age when you have to be, because you're a mom and you're a wife and you're a business owner? So those are the 4 pillars: your kids, your husband, your business, and yourself, your own mental sanity. How do you address the other 3 pillars? If one of them is great, but the other 3 obviously need some attention.
So first I go cry in the shower.
Okay, I love it, honesty.
So I go
All
cry in
green
the
lights.
shower and I'm just like, okay, bitch, get this out because you have to solve this problem.
We're in the trust tree right now.
Okay, because again, we're going to have to solve the problem,
Yes.
right? So I would probably cry it out in the shower. That's my personal time. That's whenever I can for showering for me, I don't know if it's the noise of the shower or just the time alone in the
feeling of the
shower.
water on your
of
skin.
yeah, maybe. That's usually where I can do a lot of my problem solving.
Okay.
And so I probably would cry it out there. And then I would come out and say, all right, so we've got the situation, right? We can't control the bad part of it, but we can control the good part. And what we're going to have to do is try to fix this situation without allowing the negativity to impact us. Because I feel like sometimes when you allow those negative thoughts, which is very often, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it happens to me even when I try my best not to allow negativity to come and to come in and fog up what I'm trying to accomplish or do, right? But it would really have to be like you have to try to keep positive so that none of the negative kind of like jumps in to where there's 1 pillar left. How am I going to make all these other 3 still stand up again, right? Without this one collapsing because it's the only thing holding the rest of the house up.
Yeah.
So we see this one. How can we go ahead and fix it, guys, so that we don't start to think, oh my God, it's going to fall. It's going to fall to pieces because there's only one still holding our entire home. We've got to figure this out. And that's literally how I manage life.
Some women, I mean, just for instance, I've did a lot of young professionals in the past before I met my wife now. And again, this isn't to take shots at women in general, but we've already established that there's way more emotions running through the day of a woman's mind and her body or whatever than there is usually the normal guy. A lot of women don't get past that first stage that you just described, where you'll go to the shower and you'll cry it out. There is no, like, for them to get to whatever stage 2 is, they just can't do it. They get stuck in the phase of crying in the shower, and then when they come out, they're still just depressed.
Correct. Yeah.
So how could you guide them into a direction where you're kind of in the middle of ponte las pilas and actually like taking action?
I would say make a list of all the good things that need to happen out of this. Like for one, it's going to be a lesson learned. And the next time it happens, you should already know how to take care of it. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes things are uncontrollable, right? And we have no way to control it. So personally, I would say find what makes you release whatever anger, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, figure that little part out. And then look at like the positive part of it and how that positive is going to help you fix this negative. Because anytime you add just a little bit of negativity in your thoughts, or, you know what I'm saying? Or you're just negative. Okay, I'm going to give you a perfect example.
Hit it.
Let's just say, hypothetically, right? Your mom passes away. You've worked at your mom's business all your life, right? Or for the past couple of years. you find out that your mother has lived a totally different life and you didn't even know that wasn't even her real name. But you discover it along the way, right? And so then you confront your mother. Now you tell your mother, and your mother says, yes, that's true. Cool. But your mom's sick, and you know she's probably not going to make it because she's diabetic, and they've already told her, like, you're not really doing your best, you know, so I don't know how much longer you're going to keep living if you don't continue to take care of yourself, right? So now your mom has passed, and when someone says, okay, you should probably keep your mom's business because she worked so long for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I can't do that. What do you mean? Like, you work there, so you already know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you just keep it going? This is your job. Yeah, I might go back to electrician school. What? But you dropped out to come work with your mom to become a barber. So you went to barber school. So why not continue to do that? Because that's going well. And now you can hire someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
To maybe do the female part because you understand the business, right? But every time you give this person an idea of how no, don't shut it, man. Like, you got this. Like, this is what you do. This is how you do it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can't. No, that's not. It's like, there's some people who are like that, who just always have a negative, everything you give them to them. It's like, bam. It's just a negative response. It's never like a positive one.
No, everyone has a picture of that person in their head right now.
Yes.
We all know that person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, okay, I fucking give up. Like, there's nothing I'm going to tell you that's going to make the situation. I'm giving you solutions. Like, I'm giving you ideas of how you can make this better. But instead, you keep telling me no. So then what do you want me to tell you? You want me to say, fucking shut that shit down then, bro. Go figure out what the fuck you want to do with your life then. I don't know. Is that what you want me to say? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I have zero tolerance.
But sometimes you love those people, and it's not like you can stop talking to them.
Mm-hmm. Especially when they're family members.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, I've always had, this is why I think I've always had a hard time with having really close girlfriends, is because I'm not really good with dealing with emotion. That's why I sometimes feel like I'm a little bit of a guy in me, because I'm not really good whenever, like, I was never the friend. I'll be honest with you. You know how I think I've said this before, whenever like a girl was having a problem, like, fuck that guy, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because more than likely that bitch was going to go back to him like next week after they done made up, you know, and he said something nice to her, made up for whatever he did. Now they're going to go back together, and you done wasted your breath saying fuck him and don't go to him. And, you know, you're all like mad about him. You're mad with her, and y'all are both like, fuck him, let's drink, you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, but we were actually having this couch conversation last night, Dawn and I, and a lot of that is self-sabotage, right? Because you're wired that way, and you keep going back to that self-sabotage life that you know it, it's kind of ingrained in you, and you can't get away from it for some reason.
Yeah, I just like women, I guess. It's just like women who just keep dating somebody who cheats, like Khloe Kardashian,
losers,
right?
deadbeats,
like, you know, you don't understand why they do it. The one thing that I've never understood, and I probably will never understand, right? Because thankfully, I've never been in that situation. But I would, you know, who somebody I would like to talk to, Don, I just called you Don. Sorry, is that's because I'm thinking I need to find me someone. Is like someone who has beat or overcome a relationship that was an abusive relationship, like physically abusive, where they're having to go into shelter and hide and make sure this person is never found. Because as a mother, okay, I'm not saying it's okay even when you're single and it's happening to you, okay?
Right.
But when you have children, I feel like even if it's a male or a female, right? Whether it's a boy or a daughter or whatever you have, right? The trauma that you cause them to begin with, right? Because you're causing it, because you're choosing to continue to stay there.
To the kid you're talking about?
Yes.
Trauma, yeah.
And to yourself also, right? But more so to them, right? It's like I would love to see like a brain, like a brain to see like what part of the brain continues to say like, but he is a good guy. He loves me. He still does this, right? Because that's the problem. I'm assuming that's the part of the brain that's making you stay, right? Because if he just fucking beat you up,
That can go both ways, I think, too, or physically and mentally abusive. You know, like,
Totally.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Verbally is the word I'm looking for. Verbally abusive.
I'm always curious as to, like, I've never been in the situation, so that's why I never like to speak about it, because it's easier for me to say, shh, I would have been like, fuck you, dude, I'm out of here. Right? It's easy for me to say because I've never been in that situation. And I would easily say, I'm out of here, right? But we don't know why women stay. Like, I'm curious as to, like, when they go through therapy to talk to someone, like, what made them stay? Like, what was the reason for...
Bro, let's talk to most of our tias and shit. They're not leaving their husbands. And you all know damn well who you are. Like, there's always that tio, or I'll give you a perfect example. My grandfather, my dad, verbally abusive like a motherfucker. You want to examine a brain, examine mine. I tell that to my dad still to this day. Like, you know, you were very, like, verbally abusive when I was a young kid. And mom still stayed with him. They're still together, the whole thing. What do you do, right? Like, sometimes, especially in the Hispanic culture, they're not going to get divorced
we don't
because,
do divorce,
especially if he's just.
I mean, my parents kept it a secret, Rob, that they were divorced for like 10 years.
Of course they did.
10 years, Rob. My family didn't know.
Of course, it's so easy for Hispanics to do that.
It was like insane for me. I was like, are we really pretending here? Like, I don't know if it was 10 years, but it was pretty up there in years.
Yeah.
To where I finally told my grandmother. I was like, I can't keep this secret. It's really dumb. Like, my mom, because my mom worked at a barbershop inside of a mall for so long, they were used to my mom not coming over on the weekends when we would visit my grandparents.
Oh, because she was working.
So she was working. She worked at a mall, so she had mall hours. So they already knew.
What a great excuse, though,
You know,
to never
my
have to go to
mom,
anything.
my mom didn't have to come because she was at the barbershop working, you know? Her days off were Monday. So that's usually when barbershops are closed. So my mom never had really, like, if my dad and my sister and I went to go visit my grandparents, it was never weird because, well, your mom's at work. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like on the way there every time. It was like, don't forget your mom's at work. I'm like, okay, we're just going to keep living this fucking lie, I guess, you know? And so we would go to my grandmother's. How's your mom? She's good, you know? And then that was it, you know? But it went on for a while till finally I just told my grandmother, my dad and my mom are not together. And she was like, what? I said, nope. I was like, she was like, how long? I'm like, probably a couple of years now. And she was just like,
you were telling people before they were?
I told my grandmother I couldn't do it anymore. It was like, why are what are we getting out of pretending, bro? Like, no, they don't give a fuck. Just be honest. But I mean, it was just not heard of. Also, my parents were known to like have like the most, I'm telling you, if your own kids are caught off guard.
Yeah.
That you never knew there was a problem. That's why I said it was a blessing and a curse at the same time for my sister and I that we never saw our parents fight. We never heard a fuck you bitch, or, you know, we never heard none of that at my house. Like, the only way we knew my parents were mad at each other, like I've said before, was on the ride to church. There was just no music. And my sister and I knew, okay, they're mad at each other. Yeah. But other than that, we honestly, I mean, my parents did an amazing job of showing, like, they both loved us. You know what I'm saying? They did an amazing job of like providing for us. They did an amazing job of showing what a family is, right? But they did an awful job of letting us know when there's problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And how you solve. You know what I'm saying? That when there's problems and, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, there's a problem here. They should probably see how, you know, parents handle it. You know what I'm saying? But no, it was like, we never saw it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's also like, you'll never catch me like, well, in front of you, you're different. You're my son, Rob.
I am. I definitely am.
But like, if we were out in public and I didn't like something that Pete was doing, you're never going to catch me say, the fuck is gonna, you know, never.
Bro, how embarrassing, because we've all seen that happen somewhere when we were younger.
Totally. And I would always be like, oh my God. Because of that, it has made me hold it in. Then when we get in the car, motherfucker is on. In the car, it is on. But not in public. I'm not one to make a scene. I will. And if you're making a scene, I'm just gonna be like this. Like, there's absolutely no reaction out of me until we get by myself. And then you better run. You better run because it's finna be on. Because I done bottled in me not saying anything back because I'm not going to go there in public, right? But when we get by ourselves, that's when it's about to go down. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, but you're absolutely right. Like, I don't know why anybody stays in a relationship like that, or is it like a generational thing? Like, well, my grandparents never divorced, and
I think it's
a cultural thing. I don't know, right? Because I think the only thing I was telling him, I was like, you were verbally abusive in this way. And I think that's why I was always very conscious of like my weight, was because my mom let it be known that I was chubby.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, you're chubby. And so if you continue to be chubby by your quinceañera, you're not going to have one. Because her exact words were, I'm not going to have my daughter look like a piñata at her 15th.
And that's what made the Marisol that you guys hear every week on her Lounge podcast.
So do you see why that made me? But my mom is somebody she's a hairdresser. She's into beauty. So, and also my dad always taught us too that like women are beautiful. So you should always, just because you get
we don't have beauty standards anymore.
Yeah, we don't. But my dad used to be the kind that's like, just because you get married and you have kids, it doesn't mean that you start looking like shit. Your husband didn't marry this person that looks like shit.
For sure.
So my dad was always right. But my dad was always like, you should always look beautiful, like regardless, whatever your beautiful is. It didn't mean like you need to wear all this makeup, because he also didn't like a bunch of makeup, right? But he also like used to say things like, make sure you always look pretty. You dress up, you're
just put together.
Just put together, yes. And so maybe that's where a lot of my dad was big time into fashion too. Like he always made sure his suit
was the dapper deacon.
I mean, bro, my dad's suits were on point at church.
Well, a broken clock's right twice a day, right, as they say. So your mom's approach wasn't necessarily the best, but what she was trying to get across was something that you should have kept in mind as a developing kid.
And I would never tell Penny that, right? If I saw her be chubby, if anything, I'd be like, we need to make better food choices, okay? Like, this is not a good food choice. Like, we should probably make this, right? And I was telling Pete the other day, I was like, I never knew why I was chubby growing up, because I wasn't like, I didn't sit down to eat. I think I was just baby fat. Like, but I'm not a naturally thin person, but we didn't have all this amazing fun junk food at my house either, because they were expensive, right? Because when I asked why one of our family members did, it was always thrown in my face that it was because they had food stamps and we didn't. So you know what I'm saying? It was like I was like, well, how come they get all the good stuff? What
was the good stuff? Like cereals and stuff?
Like cereals. They had
Hostess
juice,
cakes.
Hostess, like all this, like chips.
What'd y'all have in place of it?
Nothing, bro.
Nothing?
No, you had like jelly. You had I had
fruit,
peanut fruit, big time. Duraznos, man, like anything. Duraznos, melon, watermelon, like that was the stuff that was at my house, but not like. So my dad would let us get like one thing each, like, so it was like, make your choice. Which one are you doing? Cereal was never an issue. We could have whatever cereal we wanted, but like you weren't going to have all these Hostess cupcakes at our house, or Nutty Bars, which one of my favorites.
Nutty Bar, bro.
They're my fucking favorite, bro.
Such a fat kid at heart.
Exactly. I am a fat girl at heart galore. When I see Sunny eat, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much me right there.
Did I send you, you and Marissa, the Hodge Twins video about the white people made Indians fat?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up because it's perfect in the context of what we're talking about right now. So if you look over the monitor here, gotta turn the audio up.
White people are the reason I'm fat today. If white people didn't go looking for spices, then various sea routes to Indian subcontinent and Africa and other places of the world would not get discovered.
You still think if they wasn't looking for spices, Africa would have never been discovered? They could actually fly shit up in space. They'd be like, wait a minute, what's that big continent down now?
They forced us to cultivate tobacco and dye if they didn't exploit and extract resources until my ancestors were left with nothing to eat. We wouldn't move to this grain-heavy, very little nutritious diet that we have today.
I'm gonna tell you like this. You wouldn't be fat if you wouldn't eat 2 Big Macs and 2 large fries. Even if whatever you said was all true, history does not make you fat today. Calories do, you stupid bitch.
I fucking love the Hodge Twins.
Yeah, I mean, it's your choice. That's why unless you have like thyroid issue, which
Right.
more than likely you're on thyroid medication, right?
Right.
Unless you have some kind of literal medical issue as to maybe medication makes you kind of big, even though you're making good choices, it can happen. It's really more like swelling in the body that's
Yeah.
really happening. But we all make conscious decisions of what we're going to put into our body. I had this conversation with Pete in the car. That's the reason why I was talking to Christine right now. I said, I need a new fucking menu. I just need to stop. My old menu that she gave me, I was over it. You know, I was like, okay, I need something new. Okay, I can't do that one again. And so I was telling him, I was like, I just need that discipline. I was like, the other day he said, let's go eat at the turkey leg hut, right? 8 years ago, Marisol would have been like, nah, bro, today's not my turkey leg hut day. So we can go on Saturday if you want, but today's Tuesday. So we can't do this on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Because I had a specific day that I would pick that I would cheat, but not during the week, right? But now it's like, oh, if my husband wants me to, let's go out to eat. It's like, in my brain, this is how I think now, right? It's like, fuck, we never have like really a date night because we're always like busy. And then I'm always feeling, it's really my fault. I'm sure he wouldn't, but it's always me feeling guilty if you get a babysitter to come watch the girls on a weekend so that he and I can have a date night, because I already feel like they're with the babysitter so much during the week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like the weekends are the least thing I can give them, you know, undivided attention at least, you know? So when he's asking, let's go have lunch together now, I kind of feel like, well, okay, now let's go, right? Now, here we go. Here's what, it doesn't matter. Going out to eat is not the problem, right?
Your choices.
Exactly. So if you know you're going to go to Turkey Leg Hut, there was a perfectly good Cajun salad there that you could have had, right? There was there was other options, right? That were still, you could taste what they offered, right? But it wasn't a healthier version, right? All on salad, on some kind of lettuce or something. Well, I've never been to the Turkey Leg Hut. Why would I go either eat a salad, right? Because their big thing is like this whole turkey leg, the stuffed turkey legs, their Cajun bowls, all these things. I'm like, well, if I'm going to come here, I'm going to eat the real deal. So granted, I did get the grilled salmon, right? With the dirty rice and the Cajun mac and cheese. So kid you not, guys, not promoting. They're not sponsoring me. They serve you so much on the bowl. We ate it for 3 days.
Nice. I've never been.
Bro, we didn't either. We had never been, because the line's always so long.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit in a line. I don't do that. I'm too old for sitting in lines that long. Like, not hours. I'm not.
No.
I'll do 30 minutes, okay, for a wait
Max.
time. Max. Anything longer than that, I can't do,
Yeah.
okay? Especially not with little kids, because they're the worst. They're not patient, you know? So we went. It was kind of like my birthday thing, and we sat there. It was really nice. We got to have uninterrupted conversations, you know, and it was just cool. You know, we talked about his trip, you know, him being out of town, how it went, and you know, him going to these different jiu-jitsu classes. It was like a totally adult conversation, you know, and had nothing to do with work.
Like if when you were single again.
Yes,
Or like not married.
we were
rather.
not. Well, no kids.
Yeah, no kids is what I meant. Yeah.
And so when I looked at my food, I said, okay, so you fucking feel like you can't breathe now. You didn't even finish the meal, right? Someone who finishes that entire meal, how did they fit it in their stomach, right?
That's how we started talking. You're talking about your
Yes,
menu.
menu,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And so I thought to myself, Pete's like, we're going to end up eating this for the next 2 days. I was like, actually, I think that's like a 3-day meal. He's like, nah, I don't think so. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I mean, we ate that for lunch for the next 3 days. I heated it up because that's how much food they give you. And I was thinking to myself, which is funny that we're going into this conversation, I thought to myself, like, someone can really sit here and eat this whole thing in one sitting. It's a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So that means your stomach is the size of your fist. So if you make a fist, guys, while you're listening to this, make a fist, and that is the size of your stomach. The reason you're able to fit so much into it is because you fucking stretch this motherfucker so big now. Now it's got all this space in there, and you just and you're just stretching it more and more and more and more. So that's how you're able to fit that. But I was feeling like, oh my God, like I was waddling because I was so full over the few bites that Pete's like, oh my God, we couldn't even finish this. I was like, I know. And I was like, isn't it crazy that there's folks that can sit here and have an appetizer and still finish their food? You
And
see
a
what I'm
drink,
saying?
probably.
I ordered the boudin balls as an appetizer, not knowing.
How big they were?
Yes. I mean, people were laughing, being like perverts, but I was like, damn, they're the big ass balls. I mean, the balls were this
Fucking
big.
boudin bowling balls?
I mean, they were like fucking blue balls. Like they were so big. I mean, they were so big, Rob.
Were they this big?
Yep.
Give them the example.
Yeah,
Catch.
here we go. Look, guys, if you're watching, this is how big the boudin balls are at the Turkey Leg Hut. Mind you, I went to go eat at their sister's location, which is near my house now. They moved. And so I thought they were going to give me the boudin balls like that they sell there, which are maybe still not even like maybe a fourth of this. Okay. They're smaller. They're just a regular meatball, basically. Imagine a regular meatball, like a regular size. That's what they give you the boudin balls as.
A donut hole.
A little bit bigger than a donut hole, but you know what I'm saying? So I was thinking I was going to get the same thing. And when they serve it to you, and they serve it to you with fries, which it didn't say on the appetizer thing. It just said three boudin balls. So I was like, okay, 3 boudin balls, we're good. Well, yeah, they give you, so the boudin balls are in the middle and the fries are around it. So make it look all cute. You know, when they serve it to you, it's dope. And I'm like, oh my God. So I can't eat that and eat my food. I was like, I thought it was going to be like a little appetizer, legit. Anyway, so going back to what we're talking about, it's like choices that we make. So it's like I made the choice to eat food that I normally wouldn't eat on a Tuesday, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was regretting it.
Of course you were.
I was regretting it for the rest of the fucking day. And Pete's like, I'm hungry. We were finally hungry. He was finally hungry at about 6 p.m.
Yeah.
We ate there at 1, dude. At 1. Okay. He goes, you want me to? I said, I'm still full. I was like, and I'm not eating anything for the rest of the day. I'm going to bed. I'm gonna drink some water. I said, because the calories that I literally just ate in that one sitting is probably for 2 days, bro, because it was just creamy.
Yeah.
Creamy, the spices, the oil. I mean, there's no way food can taste that good.
And not be calorically dense like a motherfucker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I was like, that's it. So basically for the next 3 days, I only had breakfast and that was lunch. And that's all I ate for the rest of the week.
Well, because we're talking about this and we have about 10 more minutes on this free episode, where can everybody get the premium Friday episodes, Marisol?
Make sure you come on over to HERR Lounge podcast. I'm sorry, Patreon.com/HERR Lounge podcast. Come join us over there. Be a part of her world. Join our Discord. We're a great group of people just supporting one another. Oh, and I think her name is Anais or Anai. I'm not really sure how you pronounce her first name, but she said she heard our podcast and it made her finally make a page of all the goodies that she makes. So
nice. Shout
out to her for finally getting on it. And I actually wanted to, it made me want to talk about business, which we love talking about.
Yeah.
And we'll probably talk about it on the next episode because it's like I told her, it's like that one reel that was going around. You got to talk about your business to have a business.
Right.
You got to talk about your business to have a business. And it's so true. And I feel them because the one thing that I hate doing is spamming people and continuously spamming people like, go check this out. Go check out my new stuff. Right. But that's the only way. It's not like back in the days where you could write, you know, you put an ad in the paper or, you know, you did a commercial on the radio. Those days are over for us. It's social media and or you go do markets and pop-ups so that people can discover your brand, which is funny because someone said to me, which I had to swallow my pride a little bit. And I was like, well, how else am I going to get my business to grow? But anyway, she said, oh, I follow you on Instagram. This was at the Tejano market. I said, well, thank you for following me. I really appreciate it. And she goes, I just didn't think you would be the one here. I thought maybe you had people that would come work your booth for you. And I was like, well, why would you think that? But I guess
it's kind of like a backhanded compliment. Like,
yeah,
she thought you were bigger, but you know, then to come and do it yourself.
Yeah.
But also,
and I thought to myself, like, Well, wait, I don't think I give that impression on my social media. I don't be trying to act like I'm balling. Like I don't be like showing the keys to my car, or like new rims. You know what I'm saying? I don't do like
It's a 2014 Honda, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay?
that's my fucking car, bro.
It's your baby.
That's my baby.
Well, before we get into business stuff on the next episode, I did want to go back to this. So we started a challenge in the we called it at the beginning of the year the Mama Challenge. So we only did maybe 2, but everybody just got spring, summer, people completely fell off. It felt like everybody did.
Yeah.
You guys doing a squat challenge?
I think we did the Squat-tober.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're doing a last 90-day challenge, right? And everybody's, we probably have about a dozen people who put in a fee, and whoever wins, winner takes all kind of thing, biggest weight loss, biggest loser kind of thing. So I just wanted to, and I was going to ask you, when you were competing, when you hit up Christine, what is it you're trying to get her to carve out for you or to like formulate for you that you don't already know what you should be
I just want to get in
eating?
the discipline of eating, like cooking my regular meals versus, I feel like eating, I don't know, spaghetti today, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make spaghetti and meatballs today, which is still not bad if you measure it, okay?
Yeah, right.
It still can be done, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm just wanting to get that discipline again to where I'm saying no versus okay, type of thing.
You know what I found when I was in college and I was really, really in shape? When all I was doing was just going to class for that 1 year, especially, it was just go to the rec center, go to class, go to the rec center, go to class. I was in really great shape. Is that I was always on a low carb diet. Never like keto, never like zero, never like full carnivore. So I was like, you know what? I want that discipline back. So I slowly started inching my way there. And then once we got to October 1st and we started this challenge, since October 1st, she jumped on like a week later too. We're basically doing like 80-20, 90-10. Like the only carbs that we get are whatever's in cheese and avocado and the occasional cocktail at the end of the day. Those are the carbs, which end up coming out to maybe anywhere between 25 and 50 at most carbs a day. It's working fantastic. I'm down like 6 pounds. She's down like 4 pounds.
High protein?
Yeah, so it's higher protein, higher fat. You got to almost double the
That's my
fats.
favorite.
It is, and it just works. And what I was going to say earlier when you're talking about you as a kid, Latinos in general are, and you were saying, unless you have like Hashimoto's or you have thyroid issues or whatever, you're not going to be like super, I have an issue kind of a person. You're just lazy. You're just not measuring your food, or you're not aware that you might be a little carb sensitive. I think most Latinos are very carb sensitive.
Well, also, you know how it was something on Rogan that someone said that diabetes is not hereditary.
Yeah, I think
It's the
Andrew
habits.
Huberman, I think.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It's the habits that are hereditary.
Right.
So basically, you saw this is what they were eating at your home. So now you're doing the same thing at your home.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing at your home, which is funny because the biggest problem I have with Luisa is her bringing Penny snacks that I don't buy Penny Hostess cakes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does she have cookies at the house? Yes. But I'm able to say you're only getting, I have this like little, I don't know if you've seen them. They're like little snack bowls, and it's just like for the babies.
Oh yeah, we have some of those too.
So
Yeah.
I have, and that's as much as you get. It's a snack. That's why it's a snack. You don't sit there and eat the whole bag. You see what I'm saying? And she loves chocolate, bro. If she could live off of candy and chocolate all day, I mean, I think that's any kid, but this is Penny. Sunny, on the other hand, no, she wants food. She wants you to, and Pete says Mickey's the same way. And both of them, Penny and Mickey, both had needle as their transition formula, like, which is very high in sugar. So he feels, here's the similarity in both of them.
Yeah.
They both really like sweets. They both love sugar. They both did needle. If you're Hispanic, you know what needle is. If you're not, I'm not sure that you know what that is. This time around, I said, absolutely not. Sunny's not having needle. Sunny's actually getting some fucking high-end formula that Penny didn't get, but Penny also got breastfed for a whole year. Sunny did not. You see what I'm saying? And it's really interesting to watch because Sunny loves food, does not care for sweets. She'll chew on it for a little bit, and it's like, okay, this is good. It killed whatever maybe temptation
Craving.
she had to see what her sister was eating, versus Penny would 10 times rather have like a piece of cake or, sweets over food.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I like for them to have water. I purposely fill up both of their water bottles because Sunny has her own water bottle. And I tell Luisa every day, please at least have them drink this whole bottle throughout the day, throughout the entire day. They just need to have this much water. They have to get in the habit of drinking water. I was like, it's very important. You don't like water, and I get it. Luisa thinks water's disgusting. Like, she thinks it's so gross. My eyelash girl told me the same thing. She thinks it's creamy. It's like, water?
Never mind.
I was like, water's not creamy. I was like, that's interesting. I love water. We need to have my mom on here one day, but I used to get in trouble when we would go out to eat because I wouldn't order a soda. I only wanted water, which is where we thought I was diabetic because I wanted water, not a soda. And when you eat food, have dinner, you're supposed to have a soda, according to my mom.
Yeesh.
You don't have water. And I only wanted water. I've always loved water. For me, it has to be ice cold. I don't like it room temperature.
I usually like it mostly room temperature.
Yeah, see, I don't. I like that bitch to be cold. It's just like
It's gotta
so
be hot
good.
outside though.
No, it's just all the time. I like it to be really cold. And so that was always like the problem. So it's up to you as a parent, at the end of the day, to be honest with you, like what choices your child makes. You're the one buying the groceries, not your kids.
Of course.
So
yeah. You give them the options. Yeah.
So, like the other day, Penny said, I want to pretend like I'm eating broccoli. I was like, why are we pretending, girl?
got some in the
eat it for
kitchen.
real. I'm like, because she
I'll
was
even
like,
teach you how to cook it.
I said, we can even put cheese on it if you want. Like, I was trying to just making her like wanting to eat it, right? She just finally tried corn.
Just now?
Because she won't do a vegetable.
She's 4, right? Give it another year.
Yeah,
give
I
it
just
another
want it to
year.
be a phase. Sunny,
It's so annoying though when they turn away food.
I know.
It pisses me off.
Who are you telling? Did I tell you about? We're going to end it on this. So school offers lunch for her. It's concluded in the tuition, and I think I told you the reason they do it is
off air, I think.
It's because of allergies, right?
Right.
They want to make sure no one brings something. And I get it. Fine. The first couple of days that Penny went to school, I kept getting those alerts on the app saying that Penny only had a few bites of her lunch, ate all of her snack. What was the snack? The Ritz crackers with peanut butter. So of course she's going to eat that. She loves peanut butter and she loves the Ritz crackers. And so I was like, she cannot be on Ritz crackers and water, okay? Because I can't have that,
I don't know. It might be a shredded baby.
And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to start making her lunch, So we started doing the lunch thing. Well, last week I was like, okay, I'm paying for this damn lunch. This girl needs to eat this lunch at school, So I told her, I said, hey, today you're going to eat at school. She was like, okay. I was like, all right. So then I get an alert on the app. Penny only had a few bites of her chicken, did not eat green beans or sweet potato fries. I was like, okay, here we go. So when I pick her up, the teacher says, she didn't want to eat her lunch today. She's like, so you might want to give her something when she gets home, like telling me like, bitch, you don't think I feed my child or what? Like, okay. And she's like, you might want to just give her something. She's like, because she was about to start crying when we told her she had to eat that lunch. And she said, my mom packs me a lunch. Where's my lunch? She's like, no, she didn't pack you one today. She goes, yes, she does. She always packs it for me. And now I'm feeling like a fucking scum, because I didn't send her with lunch that day.
We talked about this, Penny.
And I was like, she's like, but she didn't end up crying. She ended up having a few bites of the chicken. She's like, we calmed her down and she ate a few bites. So when she got in the car, I was like, why were you crying? She goes, well, I just don't understand why you didn't send me with lunch. I was like, I told you in the morning you were going to have lunch at school. And you said, okay, that's fine. And she's like, but it's so nasty there. And so I always zoom in on the pictures because, the green beans look like they just opened the can. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it's just a canned green beans versus fresh green beans.
Well, they ain't got a garden in the back.
They might be fresh, but they just looked like they were in a can. So I wouldn't eat that fucking shit either. And I'm like, but wait, the sweet potato fries? Who doesn't like sweet potato fries? Who doesn't like sweet potato fries? Jesus. I was like, sweet potato fries, Penny? You couldn't even eat that? She goes, they taste weird. I'm like, you've had them at the house, okay? And she's like, I have? I'm like, yes. And I was like, what's up with the chicken? I was like, the chicken it was just breaded. She goes, well, I did bite the chicken a little bit. And I was like, okay. I was like, so what was wrong with that one? She goes, I don't know. It started getting cold. Well, yeah, because when you don't eat it, it starts to get cold, girl. And I'm like so annoyed with her. You know, I'm just like, I'm not doing this again, because Mickey was the same way. They get that from Pete. Pete was very picky as a child. The story that I've been told was, because he was chiflado, I guess there was a pretty girl across the street, and only Alma could come feed him. And he would only eat if Alma fed him. But he was super picky growing up, is what his sisters told me, like as far as food is concerned. So I guess Mickey was the same way. Penny is going that direction, although Penny eats a little bit more than Mickey did as a kid. Mickey literally had 3 things that she would eat. Penny at least does a little bit more than Mickey did. Sunny, that's why I said she's my child, right? That one took the eating habits after me, because I gave it to her. She's like, if she sees you eating something, she's like, okay, let me go sit down in my chair right quick. They might share with me. Like, she's ready to eat. Like, put her in her chair. But my point is, with all that is, I think that whole point of it being hereditary, when I heard it, I was like, my brain exploded. I was like, oh shit. Is that the case? Is diabetes not hereditary? And it's really just something that is passed on. It's like a generational thing. Like, oh, well, I saw this is how they ate at my house. That's probably, and it is true, right? Because you're going to cook the way your mom cooked.
Yeah, a lot of it is just built upon habits.
Right?
So what would you... So I know we're going to end and then go to the Friday's episode, but when did you start going low carb in your competition? Like when you were competing? Very, very
low carbs towards the end,
right?
Yeah.
You remember they call it now like keto flu if you're on the keto diet, where you get kind of brain foggy. All the competitors that used to come into my facility were always super like fucking dumb. They were like just gone because they were so low carb. I didn't get that this time around now that I've been super low carb. The first like 3 or 4 days were kind of like, all right, it's kind of don't feel the best. But then after that, it's great. So if I challenge you to go low carb, could you do it? And would you do it?
But I like high protein diets.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Like for me, that was my favorite. And whenever I would see more carbs, like whenever it would be high carbs, low protein, I used to be like, fuck, I hate this.
And the only reason I say this is to maybe get you over the hump that you're talking about that you just can't seem to get over. It's like, see that initial, like just stick to it for like 3-4 weeks and see what happens, you know?
I think, want to know what I feel really is my problem right now? Which should be like your competition mentality, right? Is I'm not competing for nothing. And I'm such a competitive person.
It's terrible though.
Exactly. That's why I said it. But technically I do have a competition. I have a competition with myself, with me wanting to, you want to look fit again. Because I don't know that I want to be that thin again. And I don't know that at 41 that would look cute, right? Because I told you, I was like looking at clothes and I gave it to Mickey and I was like, oh, I was that little? Like,
you ain't got to be there again.
As a grown adult? Like, damn, that's kind of bad because you're 14. And I was like, kind of the same as you, you know? But I don't know that I want to be that little, but I did tell Christine, I'm like, I do want to do another competition in my 40s just to show my body that it can still get there in the 40s. It has nothing to do with age. You know, being fit has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with you and your your mental stage. And I told Pete, I was telling him as well. I was like, I just want to have that discipline again where on the weekends, that 80-20 rule, you know, like during the week, this is what I eat. And, you know, I don't, sorry, if you want to go do something, I can't because, you know, but on the weekends, let's hook up. You know what I'm saying? Like because I still want to be able to be normal. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're competing, it's really hard for you to go hang out with people. Like, you know, you're trying your best not to be tempted from anything. Like I never forget. I told my mom, I was like, I can meet you at the coffee shop. And she was like, I don't drink coffee. I'm like, I know, but that's all I can do. So I already had my meal for today. I can't eat. So, but I can definitely have all the coffee I want because I don't drink coffee with anything in it. So, you know, it was like when Christine would give me creamer for my coffee, I was like, do I have to have the creamer? She's like, well, you need those calories. I was like, okay, well, what else can I use? Because I don't like shit in my coffee. So it was like, we're always trying to find like a substitute because I was like, my thing was always like, can I have a spoon of peanut butter? She's like, no, that's a fat. And I was like, I know, but can we calculate it to where I can have peanut butter instead of the creamer?
Move it around.
Exactly. Because I just don't care for anything in my coffee. I like to taste my coffee. But anyway, I remember I took my mom and she's like, I don't know how you find this discipline in you. She's like, it's very amazing to watch. She's like, and it's a very like crazy, like when she came to the competition, to the first one, the branch worn that I did, I remember she's like, okay, I want to compete. I was like, no, you're not going to be able to do it. And she's like, yes, I can. I'm like, no, you can't. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you can't, Ma. I was like, first of all, you have one meal a day because you're at the shop. And so you get to sit down one time. I was like, you have to eat a lot. That means you're going to have to find time. You know, when we're going to end it with this, going to go to the next because I know we got to go. When I was competing, I was interpreting. Okay. I got to use my hands. I literally would tell like whoever I was interpreting for, like, okay, at some point I'm going to have to stop and I'm going to have to eat my food. And so like I was having to calculate, no joke, how long is this assignment? Okay, I'm going to eat half of my food before so that when I'm done, I can have the other half because I need my hand, but you have to have the food, right? It was the hardest thing. I'd carry my backpack. When I would job coach somebody, okay, I would tell the people that I was coming in there to job coach, like the manager, literally, this was my script. I'm in the middle of a bodybuilding competition. I was like, I'm prepping. I'm almost to the end. I have to bring my backpack. So if you see me walk away from him to go get my food and walk around with him with my food, that is why. I would hide in the bathroom, hurry up and eat. You're working.
That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard you say.
Disgusting thing. So I'm sitting there in the toilet, gross the fuck out like this, Rob. For those of you who can't see, I literally would get my clothes and eat like this because I would feel like the flushing would get on my food and I would be more grossed out. So I didn't want nobody's flushing germs to come out and get on my food.
Bro. Did you see the video that was going viral last week of somebody was cooking grilled chicken in the restroom at a gym?
Oh
yeah, like not well, there was like a glass lid on top, so it had like a burner, and they were like literally grilling it in the restroom.
That's disgusting.
You gotta change some things in your life if that's what you're doing. Find some more time.
On that note, thank you guys for listening. See you guys Friday.